segment is going to be, is the Las Vegas Raiders head coaching position a desirable job? When the firing came out, we put a tweet out that said, this has to be one of the least desirable job opportunities in the NFL this year. Got a lot of pushback on it. We're going to explain why you guys are wrong and we're right. That's why we have a podcast, because we like to do that. Maybe you want to take the lead on this one. Tell everyone why the Raiders job is not desirable.
Yeah, I would love to. Let me pull up this graphic here. Did I send it to you in text message? The Pat McAfee show had a nice graphic pulled up. It's like the head coaches that got fired the fastest in like a season, and there were 3 Raider head coaches on there. Like they just going through coaches like crazy, just firing them. Like boom, you're out 4 games. Like Lane Kiffin out, dude. The guy Jack McDaniels 8 games out. And I'm missing who else was it? Was it? Here it is. Oh, here it is. So we have Josh McDaniels fired after 8 games. We have Dennis Allen fired after 4 games in the season. 4 games. Lane Kiffin, 4 games. They're the most head coaches on this graphic that were fired the fastest in the season that were all Raiders coaches. Why would you want to coach there? They will fire, they will run you out of town. And they don't even have that much talent right now. So you have Jimmy G, who's gone. So I guess if you're a new coach, you're like, okay, well, Raiders will maybe tank because they're starting Aiden O'Connell, I think his name is, the rookie. Probably be a top 5 pick. Maybe you end up getting a nice quarterback. Okay, sure. You have Adams, who doesn't even want to be there. He hates his life right now in Vegas. So you probably have to move on from him. I guess you have Max Crosby, who's like the only hope you have on the entire team. And he probably wants to get traded too because they're like, this team sucks. No, I would not want to coach there unless you're a well-seasoned coach and like you just know you're not going to get fired after 3 games in the season, sure. But if you're a brand new guy who's like maybe offensive coordinator right now and you go take your first head coaching job there, good chance you're going to be fired after like 7 games. That's all.
Yeah, let's not piggyback off of that. So, I mean, a lot of things that were yelled at us were, well, they have so many weapons. It's like, you're right. They do have a lot of weapons. You do have Devontae Adams. You do have Hunter Renfrow, who's still a good player. I don't know why Josh McDaniels refused to use him. You still have Josh Jacobs. You have a rookie tight end who seems very promising in Mike Mayer, I believe his name is, from Notre Dame.
Mayer, yeah.
You have a great top 5 defensive end in Max Crosby. Absolutely. But that's you also have you have $54 million in cap space. And you also will have a top 10, potentially top 5 pick. Those are the benefits of the job, right? That's the positives that we will look at. Here's the negatives. Here's the reality of the position. You currently have the 7th oldest roster in the NFL. Next year, with a lot of veterans leaving, you're still going to have the 10th oldest roster under contract currently. Some of those guys are going to be brought back, I'm sure, which will keep you in that 7 to 10 range. So you're not a young team that's just on the cusp. You are an aging roster that's paying a lot of money to these guys. You have the worst defense. And that's maybe excessive. You have a bottom 10 defense in the NFL. You guys keep dedicating resources to this and cannot get it figured out. Tyreek Wilson so far has looked like a flop. He can still turn around. I'm not calling him a flop. I'm not calling him a bust. I'm just saying so far he hasn't done much. Opposite Max Crosby. You have, it looks like an okay linebacker, number 41. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, who looks okay there. Diablo Divine has been all right, maybe. You have one of the worst secondaries. You signed Marcus Peters, and it still looks horrible. You guys can't hold a bucket of water right now. Your O-line has looked like a bottom 10 unit, top to bottom. I can't even think of one guy. Colton Miller's okay. You got a top 15 left tackle. Everything else is trash. Everything else needs to be replaced. Josh Jacobs, you just used a franchise tag on. You have to either give him a long contract. So if you're hired as the GM, you have 2 months to make the determination to bring Josh Jacobs back or let him walk. That's it. You have to start fresh with his representation. You get 2 months to make that determination. You do have it. Again, you have Devontae Adams. He's 31 now. He's an aging star, right, that you're paying a shit ton of money to.
Who hates his
life. It's not like he's not some young 27-year-old Devontae Adams you're getting. You're getting 30, 31-year-old Devontae Adams. He's going to start regressing soon. He's already kind of regressed a little bit. We're just not talking about it. We're blaming it on McDaniels. but he's already kind of regressed to a degree. So again,
which makes sense.
What was that?
Yeah, he's old. I said which makes sense. He's opposite. Like he's beyond the age of 30 now. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But sorry, man.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, I just want to make sure I heard what you were saying and wanted to acknowledge if you were saying something. Yeah. So again, you're going to this situation and you've to cap all that off with all the holes in that roster, right? That's just the internal problems. The external problems is that you have a owner that, again, has been shown multiple times to pull the trigger and firing quick. He's preaching stability, but his actions are saying other things. He's firing GMs, he's firing head coaches quick. They've gone through 2 GMs and 2 head coaches in 4 years. It doesn't mean those people didn't deserve to lose their jobs, but
yeah,
it doesn't mean those people didn't deserve to lose
the owner hates everyone he hires. Like it's just like he hires them. He's like, I hate you now. You're gone. Sorry,
he treats hiring head coaches like buying a boat. The 2 happiest days when you buy a boat are the days you buy it and the day you sell it. For Mark Davis, it's the same thing. The 2 happiest days for him is when he hires a head coach and he fires a head coach. That's it. Everything else in between is miserable. So that's part of the external problems you have. Plus, you play in a division that guarantees you 2 losses a year because you play Patrick Mahomes, potentially 2 additional losses because you're playing the Chargers and Justin Herbert. And once they get their shit figured out with the new head coach, then you're going to get fucked by that. And then Russell Wilson and Sean Payton seem to have gotten the Broncos slowly turned around. Again, that's not 2 losses guaranteed a year. You can still pull those out. But you're looking at potentially 4 guaranteed losses a year with the owner that has 0 patience and a bottom 10 roster. If you're a first-time head coach, why would you tie your trailer to that wagon there? Like you're gonna
reputation.
Fired. Yeah, you're right. Why would you put your reputation? Again, you got to think if you a hot commodity head coach and you have your opportunity to either take the Raiders head coaching job or the Chargers head coaching job, which do you think you're going to take? The Chargers. So the Raiders already aren't getting the best coach. Then you start going down the list. Potentially Bears might have an availability. The Commanders might have an availability. Usually about 7 coaches get fired every year. So we can start running through at some point. Maybe the Packers might have an availability. So if you're a first-time head coach, you're going to look at some of these other spots that have given their head coaches plenty of. I mean, the Bears, for all their talk of being a disorganized franchise, usually give their head coaches about 3 to 4 years to figure their shit out. The Raiders, you get a year and a half.
There's a dude there that won less than damn Josh McDaniels. He's still there in Chicago.
Oh,
he
yeah.
won like half the game that Josh McDaniels did.
In Chicago, he gets a statue. But you see what I'm saying? Like, why would you want to tie your wagon to that franchise? It makes no. It's such a bad
there's no reason.
Spot. And you're still stuck with.
Yeah, and I'm sorry.
Go on.
I was going to say, I'm sorry, Raiders fans, but like, there's just to put more logic behind my rant about the Raiders org and their head coach role. Like, the point I was trying to get across, you also hit it on it too, is like, why would you want to go work for someone that you feel like doesn't 100% back you? Like, you have a short leash. Like, going into it, you have a short leash, right? So if you're a first-time head coach, why would you want to put yourself in that situation where, like, you're around this team that, to your point, aging roster, lots of undecided moves with your stars. So you might be put with, like, a bad roster from the get-go, okay?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know Mark Davis is going to be patient enough to let that GM build a roster for 2 years before just canning you because you guys are winning 3-4 games a season? Like, I mean, I would not want to do that.
No, and I mean, look at the 49ers, and again, bringing them up, whatever. By the same logic, Kyle Shanahan would have been fired halfway.
My favorite team.
Well, to be fair, this is where I'm tying it in here. Kyle Shanahan would have been fired.
I'm messing with you, bro.
Kyle Shanahan would have been fired halfway through his second year in 2018. They were a bad team. They went 6-10 in 2017 by a miracle trade for Jimmy back when Jimmy was still a hot commodity. 2018,
Has he been there for that long? Holy crap!
Yes.
He's been
And
there
then
for a minute.
2018, Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt in like the third game, but they were looking kind of rough at that point. I think they were 1-2. They lost to the Vikings and the Chiefs, and then had a bad year because they didn't have their starting quarterback and had to pay Nick Mullins all year. So you would have fired Kyle Shanahan a year and a half in. And it didn't look good at that point. It still looked like a bad roster. It still looked like they didn't have shit figured out. It wasn't until into the third year they finally started getting shit turned around and went 8-0. So that's what I'm saying when I say, sometimes you just need to have patience with it. It's like, yes, give them an opportunity to figure out, hey, the Jimmy thing maybe didn't work out. Hey, maybe this isn't working out. You can still, these are still people. They can still learn and adjust and hear and whatever else it is. But again, I'm not saying they should have kept him, but I'm saying if you're talking about stability, going back to our previous conversation, due diligence, hire better people, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then you touched on something that I wanted to touch on as well. What did you remind me of what you mentioned real quick?
I'm trying to think back to my rant here. I kind of talked about how the head coach might have a short leash, like right from like the get go, because Mark Davis like pretty much hates everyone that he hires. Was that what you're thinking of?
No,
Or
sorry,
you
no,
thinking about
you're right.
something else?
It was the last thing you had just mentioned about being a new head coach. Oh, that's what I was going to say. And for regular people like us, because again, we all aren't NFL GMs. So to put in a situation we can imagine, you can either take a job that will pay you whatever $80,000 a year. Because this was a comment we got to was, well, it's an NFL coaching job. Anyone's going to take that. Not necessarily. Again, you're up in your career. You're in your early 30s. You have a wife. You have a couple kids. Whatever, right? You're at a pinnacle point in your career. You can either take an $80,000 a year job, full benefits, great ownership. They're going to give you an opportunity to learn the position and go through the trainings, get certifications, whatever you need for that position. Or you can take this job where they're going to pay you $200,000 a year, but it's a sales job. It doesn't have any benefits, and you're probably going to get fired after 6 months. Which job would you take? I mean,
Show me the money.
that's kind of the reality. Huh?
I was kidding.
The sales job?
I said, show me the money.
Yeah, show me the money. I mean, that's
I would
kind of like
take
what the
verbal
reality
harassment for 200,000.
Huh?
But no, you're. I said I would say verbal harassment for $200,000. No, you're spot on. I would feel like I'm looking over my shoulder every single day, like
Yeah.
on my hands and knees begging the team. Listen, we need to go out there and win because like my house, I might have to sell it by like tomorrow if we end up losing. Like
You might as well
that's
even buy
not
a
a
house. You might as
healthy
well
environment.
No. And again, you got to think these guys are,
true.
they're young in their careers, but they probably have wives or kids or whatever situation where they're the breadwinner. You can't afford to sit here and risk it all in this job where you're going to get fired a year and a half in. You're going to can because you lost to Patrick Mahomes 4 times in 2 years. So yeah, of course, a lot of people losing to Patrick Mahomes 4 times or 2 times, and every time they face him. So why would you risk your financial stability, your career? Because again, once you get fired from that, like typically you don't get another head coaching opportunity. It seems pretty few and far between, and the numbers don't support making that decision anyway. I mean, look at Leslie Frazier, who got one opportunity with the Vikings and has never been a head coach since. Or in some ways,
Forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Or like Jim Schwartz, another guy that got one opportunity in Detroit in a bad situation and will never get a head coaching opportunity again because of it.
That's what I kind of said too when we first started the segment. Like, unless you're a well-seasoned guy already, like you can probably go take that role and just know, like, if you just hope your name, your brand name is big enough to get another job if you wanted to afterwards, after you get canned after two games or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not saying this would happen, but if like a Jim Harbaugh type name left, college football, want to go coach for the NFL, I'm pretty sure he probably will find a job after the Raiders if he got canned because of his name and his like resume and his tenure, so stuff like that. But if you're a first time head coach, you gotta think this is probably like one and done. Like if I get fired after like 2 seasons here, it's gonna be tough to go find another job. So
and